In the months since Trump's election, one of the loudest debates has been whether the left should care about rural people or just focus on the cities and so-called blue states, whether the, quote, white working class needs to be central to any struggle, or whether it deserves what it has gotten by voting for Trump. But the real world is a whole lot more complicated than these ham-fisted debates, and there's a great piece at Working Class Perspectives from Patrick Dixon, a research analyst for the Kalmanovitz Initiative for Labor and the Working Poor at Georgetown University. Titled Playing Chicken, Discovering a Diverse Working Class in Trump Country, the piece reminds us that this country is actually not divided into red and blue states, white and non-white areas, and that the working class is a multi-ethnic group of people from around the world who come together to be exploited by American capitalism. Isn't that the American dream? The piece focuses on the poultry industry in the U.S., which is almost universally considered to be a miserable place to work. Poultry producers, Dixon notes, intentionally avoided unions by putting plants in rural areas with mild climates that also tended to be in union-unfriendly southern states. As of December 2016, he writes, 314 of the 426 commercial poultry slaughtering facilities in the United States were located in towns of less than 20,000 people, and another 21 are located in unincorporated townships. And those townships, along with the rest of the areas that make up the swaths of rural poverty in the country, are full of people of color, immigrants, and refugees. In the 10 U.S. counties with the lowest per capita income as of the 2010 census, whites constitute more than 61% of the population, and only 3, and whites are the minority in 4 of these counties, Dixon points out. These days, the poultry industry's workforce is less representative of Trump voters than Trump victims, though of course that too is a false dichotomy. Dixon writes, quote, at the same time, the workforce in poultry and meatpacking plants is shifted away from its African American and Central American core in favor of international refugees. Around 1/3 of the labor force today is foreign-born, and even the North American Meat Institute has expressed concern at the Trump administration's attempted restrictions upon immigration from Muslim countries. The poultry business reveals some of the human faces behind the travel ban through its increased employment of Iraqis, Somalis, and Syrians. Displaced foreign workers don't disembark at New York City harbor as they did 100 years ago. They arrive in rural resettlement centers in places like North Georgia and Central Virginia. For many of us, then, the rural working class has remained out of sight, out of mind, and our understanding of who lives in, quote, red states, who would be affected, for instance, if the left simply withdrew from them, has faltered. The status quo before Trump's election was already bad for the workers in these countries, workers of all races. To quote Dixon, many have objected to the travel ban with the assertion that it goes against their notions of what America represents. However, in the absence of a travel ban, would we be content with the status quo whereby immigrants and refugees are not welcomed, but merely accepted and consigned to the most difficult and unpleasant jobs? For generations of immigrants, this has been exactly what America represents.